It was fun. It makes more sense when you have a bingo card too.
Yeah. That was me last night.
Yeah, I didn't have one last night, and I'm going, what are they doing?
Yep, I came in a little late last night too.
You're fine. Well, we hope these show that it's sometimes it's a great way to start off your meetings with just something fun. And everyone sometimes comes to meetings after work and their brains are a little frazzled, and so just to get a chance to sit back and relax and have a little bit of fun, even if they're virtual, even if you're not able to meet in person. So thank you, Mike and the Fun Crew, and for doing that with us. And we are going to go ahead and get started with our first session of the night. It's session 4, sponsorship. We are recording this session, but if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Super excited to have Joy and Brittany and a few others that are going to be joining us to talk about sponsorship, which truly can be such a huge impact on your event and your community. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you much. I'm so glad to have everybody here tonight. I'm going to pull down my PowerPoint because it just says sponsorship, and I want to see all your faces. So I am Joy Brigham. I am part of the UES staff and have been on this awesome team since 2016, and just really has been a part of the growth of the program and all the ups and downs and bumps along the way. So really excited to be a part of this tonight. And then my co-host for tonight is Brittany Stevens. She and I live in Alabama. I know y'all can't tell from my accent where I live, but Brittany lives in Kentucky, and I'll let her introduce herself real quick.
Make sure that I'm not double muted and also that I'm not too loud. I'm such a loud person.
Good.
It's 8 o'clock here, so it's bedtime for my girls, so they're asleep. So my husband knows how loud I am, and he's already warned me. Make sure you try to keep it low, all that good stuff. So yeah, I've been warned. I have been with the American Cancer Society since 2013, so it'll be 8 years in December. Been a part of the remote team since 2017. I think all the years go together because it's just been so much fun the past few years. Staffing events remotely for the past 4 years.
So Brittany and I really wanted to talk about sponsorship because, one, I know that sponsorship is sometimes intimidating to think about how you're going to go ask a business for several $100s or several $1,000s. It can be very intimidating. So we just wanted to go through like some helpful tips and tricks to get through that, and also wanted to talk a little bit about what you're offering as part of your sponsorship, because sometimes that can be a total game changer. Brittany has actually worked with an event this year that had a lot of obstacles to getting started, but they were able to work through some stuff that she's going to share about here in a minute, and had a lot of success with that. So I think we'll just start with that. Let Brittany share kind of what this particular community that was brand new to remote staffing, what they faced, how they overcame it, and what the result was. And then we're going to talk about, some different stuff. So go ahead, Brittany.
Yeah, so I, like Joy said, got the opportunity to work with some great volunteers for this event that was new to me and new to the remote model. And I feel like, while I know that that's a super great transition, it's also a transition. So it's a change in trying to figure out the dynamics of what your event will look like now versus what it was. And I say that just because the event that I worked with, and I'm still working with, they had a lot of help from their staff partner with sponsorship. Like their staff partner completely handled all sponsorship asks. And it made them super uncomfortable to think about making that ask, so much so that they almost thought, we'll just not do sponsorship. Like we just won't make that part of our event. So to try to ease their nerves, we scheduled a call and really talked through every single level, every single benefit of that sponsorship packet. And I know that that's nothing earth-shattering. I mean, it's pretty simple to think about, but I know that I have been guilty in years past of just, taking that sponsorship packet maybe from years past and deleting 2020 and adding 2021 and not really taking the time to deep dive into the sponsorship packet and look at each of the levels and look at each of the benefits on those levels. I mean, you guys are in your communities, what's attractive to your local businesses. I mean, there may be like a T-ball sponsorship opportunity that looks super great and that they offer a benefit that we could add to our packet to make it a little bit better. And I will also say, for the longest time, I feel like Relay has been cookie cutter and we've been given something and we feel like we have to stay in that mold. And in recent years, we have been given the opportunity to really customize it and make that our own. So we have the opportunity to look at those different levels and different benefits and truly figure out, what works best for our community. What do we think that our community will find beneficial about those different levels? So yeah, I mean, we spent some time to walk through that, and then I feel like because we went through each benefit, it took some time, but because we went through each benefit and each level, everybody that was a part of that call left the call feeling super comfortable and super confident with what was in the packet. So whenever they went out to make those asks and approach different businesses, they knew the packet inside out. So they were truly able to really share that with their community, and they believed in the packet. It's not easy to go and ask somebody for money. I mean, I know that we all believe in ACS and believe in the mission, but still it's uncomfortable to get out there and truly make that ask. So I do feel like taking some time to really become familiar with that packet inside and out truly helped make the difference. They were able, their first year in remote, they brought in over $87,000, and a big chunk of that was sponsorship. I want to say, I should have had the numbers written down, I apologize. I want to say over $20,000 in sponsorship. So they really got to see some success with that.
So just as a quick question, like you can come off mute, you can drop it in the chat, whatever is more comfortable to you. Just kind of a quick, I didn't know that, or I did know that. How many of you knew that you did not have to use the standard packet?
I did, Donna Hood.
Good.
I did. I
All
did not
right.
know
I
that.
did not.
So we've got about half and half. Some did and some did not know that you did not have to use the standard packet anymore. Like Brittany mentioned, in years past, we've tried to make it all the same levels, all the same benefits. Well, we can just throw that out the window. If you were on last night, how to be the CEO of your own event, well, this is part of that. You have the control to make the packet what you want it to be. So we're going to kind of that segue into looking at some different options and some different packets and things like that. If you have a really fun benefit that you've come up with that's kind of outside the box, outside of your standard, you get what's some of the standard ones? My brain is, sorry, y'all, had anesthesia this morning, so I'm still a little foggy. But what are some of the standard things that we always offer? Anybody? Somebody? Track signs. There you go. Track signs.
Yeah. This is Donna. I mean, like what we do is at a certain level, we let them put their, well, like Lazy Boy, one of the industries, at a certain level of money, you can put your banner or something up around the field.
Mhm.
That was
Okay, so
one of them.
I'm gonna throw a little wrench in. So if nothing else, the past year has told us and taught us that we have to be flexible and we have to have things that are flexible. So how many of you have put in something that is a digital benefit? So that if you didn't have, like, say COVID was running rampant in your community and you had to cancel at the last minute.
No, I mean, we haven't. How would that look?
Well, we're going to show you. We're going to show you some examples. So let's just take a look here. I'm going to share my screen.
Amanda has her hand raised.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just agreeing, saying that we did something.
Oh, okay. All right. Now where's the thing? Maybe you shouldn't have put me in charge of running the technical side tonight. All right, well, we'll start with this one. I don't even know what this one is. This is the one with the digital. Okay. So what, just to give you kind of a overview of this one, what they did is they actually took the standard packet that our art department provides, and then they kind of modified it to make it their own. So instead of having just a standard stock photo here, they actually did a photo from their community. If you see here, it's a beautiful quilt that somebody made. There you go, by Mary. And then this is just kind of a standard page that you can or cannot include. It's totally up to you. And then what they did here is they actually did the benefits this way. So instead of having it real wordy, they just did this big chart. And what they included here, digital wise, is at their presenting and platinum sponsorship levels, they had a pre-recorded video that the sponsor could do themselves. So if I were a furniture store, I could do in my furniture store a 60-second spot about their partnership with the American Cancer Society and their local Relay for Life. And then we would post that on our social media page, and they would do a 60-second spot at the $15,000 level. Again, they did a pre-recorded PSA that we could do at the event. If it were a virtual event, you still can show it. And then I think that was all the digital logos on the event website. You know, those are kind of given things. But it was really cool that they added these PSAs and pre-recorded videos as part of their packet. Yes, we will have all of this that we will put into a file that you can access later. All right. Let me share another one. And Brittany or anybody that wants to chime in on these is welcome to you. All right, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I do believe that, you know, even as we do get to see more normalcy, I do think that some of these virtual or digital benefits will be around forever, because I feel like COVID has changed what is the normal. So these benefits are definitely still going to be super attractive to local businesses and that sort of thing, because we're seeing a trend of more of that. I mean, but fingers crossed for more normalcy, but still, I do feel like there is some benefit.
But even in the very smallest communities, there's a lot more digital stuff going on. All right, this is actually a university. Again, they took, you know, the standard packet and kind of made it their own. This one is more of a, you know, words versus the chart. But it's got, you know, in here, it says these are the digital benefits that you're going to get. And then this is what we'll do in the media. And then this is on the day of what you're going to get. Now, if you notice, this sponsorship starts at $1,500. The other one started at $15,000. That's the other thing. We used to have a very, you know, cookie cutter. It must be at this level. This is the, you know, the lowest that you can go for your top level. Again, you know your own community. You know what's going to work there. So you just need to look at what are the levels that works best in my community. So, sorry, I have things popping up. So let's look at another one.
Joy, while you're bringing another one up, I just wanted to mention too, when you go in to talk to somebody about sponsorships, don't feel that if something is in the packet that doesn't work for that sponsor, or they say, hey, you know, would you be able to do this? Be open-minded to it. Have a discussion about it. Don't just discard it and say, no, it's not in the packet. I can't do that. Have that discussion with your staff partner or your coach to see if it's something that we can do. Because that's what we want, to engage our sponsors in a way that makes sense to them as well and is beneficial to them as well as us.
Very good point.
Hopefully I didn't step on any toes and steal anybody's thunder on that one.
Okay, I'm going to share one now that's a very, very simplified one. This is literally one page. Now, this is for a pickleball tournament that is a Relay for Life fundraiser. But if you notice here, I'm going to zoom out so that you can see the whole thing. If you notice here, it is all on one page. So it's very simple. Because let's be honest, if you have event sponsors that have sponsored year after year after year, they don't want a 10-page packet. They just want the form, fill out, give you the check, and there you go. So this has a very simple like intro letter. It has the levels, and that's it. So again, we can throw that old packet out the window if it doesn't work for you, but it's there if you do. But this one in particular is a very, very simplified one. Lisa just brought up a $50 level. That is something that I had a community in Mississippi that they had a lot of problems getting even a $250. So we did a $50 Friends of Relay sponsor, and they sold about $6,000 worth of those.
Joy,
So
I think that Mary has her hand up.
okay, yeah, sorry, I can't see those things when
Okay,
I'm
no
sharing.
problem.
So
No problem. And I'm not really the one who should be discussing this or even bringing it up. My daughter, you know, she knows more about this, and she'll be in and out on the call. But I was in a conversation earlier today with my daughter and another relayer, and Michelle was saying, as far as digital, since we're moving towards that even more, is that when you put the sponsor on the website, you'll be able to click through to the sponsor's website, and you know, you can have different kinds of packages or rewards or whatever, but that's a great benefit for the sponsor. So when you
I can interrupt and explain a little better.
is my daughter on? She might.
Hi, everyone.
But I'm fine. I am not the techie person, but it sounded so good to me, and we're going to be presenting that to our ELT here.
So if you can hear me, I'm actually simultaneously in an Adobe seminar as well, Adobe Max seminar. And what caught my attention was how we put the sponsors on our main page. Some of them are just plain JPEGs. If you have someone who's savvy enough, they can add the sponsor's website link. But this is a next step further. What it is it allows the participants, when they come to your page, to create like a game. So for me, I'll give you an example. So if I was to click on any of the levels of presenting sponsors, it gives a game. And once I click on them, it says you can click the game, and it asks us one simple question about that sponsor. For example, Microsoft, you know they're in the cloud, yes or no. And as a participant of the game, I accumulate points until the end of the seminar. And whoever, if you raise, like, for example, for this one, 700 points, you're automatically put in all of the 20 raffle items. If you raise 300, you can request to be put in the game. But what I thought was it was a very interactive way of presenting our sponsors a little better than just seeing their JPEG or going to their website. And what it's like is when you click that sponsor, it doesn't necessarily take you to the website, it takes you to an info page. One, again, telling you about the game, telling you a little blurb about the site, and maybe, some tidbits in relation to us, how they relate to cancer, what their sponsorship does. But I think it's a fun way to interact, and there are a few free softwares to do that. So I'm going to try to do that.
That's very cool. And along kind of that same line, recently we saw there's a couple of things that we've seen that are kind of pushing a little like to the next level kind of thing. So we did an early bird sponsorship. So if you got your sponsorship in by the end of the year, then we would level you up. So if you so you went in at a gold sponsor at $1,000 and you paid your money before the end of the year, then we would level you up to the next level at 1,500 and you would get all those benefits. So it just kind of gives them an incentive to get their sponsorship back to you quicker. So I thought that was a really interesting thing to do, the early bird special. And then we recently saw a sponsorship raffle, and I'm going to use that word very carefully because we know about raffles, but basically everybody that did their sponsorship by a certain date and had their money turned in by a certain date, they would be entered in to win a bonus level. So you could come in as a signature sponsor at $250, and if you won the raffle, then you would go to platinum level. So I thought that was just an interesting kind of play on trying to get a little more interaction from your sponsors to get them to go ahead and commit. So anybody else have any fun, different things that you've done? Is everybody going to go back and revamp their packets?
Joy, I got bumped off for 1 minute. Did y'all discuss about how many levels, some tips on how to pick how many levels and where to gauge those levels? Because
we didn't talk necessarily about how many levels, but really just revamping and not having to do all those levels.
Well, and that's the big thing is look at where your sponsors have been in the past and what levels they've been coming in. And if you've been handing a packet to somebody that has 4 or 5 levels above that, then maybe some adjustments need to be made because you don't want your top sponsor feeling like they're coming in at the bottom. You want them to feel pretty good. You obviously don't have sponsors that are in those higher ranges, but you also don't want to set it so if, like, let's say your top sponsor is 2,500, you don't want to set your top at 2,500. You always want to have one level above. So always have one level at least that your top sponsor can step up, unless it's a big presenting sponsor that you already have filled. And then and you don't have to give a million choices. You can sort of simplify it, but look where you are. I have seen events told that they had to use a certain packet, and they didn't have anybody in the top 4 or 5 levels. It was ridiculous to be, take some of those amenities that they can get and put them down a little bit to a different amount of money.
All right, Ashley has her hand raised, so I know we're running out of time, so we want to make sure we get to you.
I have a question, and I feel like this is going to come off as bitchy, and I'm sorry, it's not meaning to. I totally understand with the whole like revamp of ACS and where our money goes that you guys are not doing t-shirts anymore. I feel like that is a big part of our event. And granted, now I'm going to go back.
Do you mean like sponsors on the back of the t-shirts?
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know, like I feel at a loss. Like I know even the one that I remade like for sponsorship in 2019, like it doesn't even fit to now. Granted that we're gonna go back and do more digital stuff, but I don't know. I just feel like there's a severe lack in it. And I don't know if it's just me and being in like the Northeast in like Fairfield County and like in Connecticut where you have that Fairfield County stereotype, like of money and all that stuff, and like they want what they want. So I don't know, like, do you think that would ever come back, or is it just we're still kind of going to play it by ear, like over the next couple
Well,
years?
I will tell you that the t-shirt program is being revamped.
Okay.
So there are going to be some different things from what we had this year and last year. I don't know that it will be exactly like what we've had in the past. So we may have to come up with some creative solutions for things. But if that's something that is really, really important to your community, I think that's something that you and your staff can work together to come up with something that is kind of a solution to where we're still following whatever guidelines we have to stick with. I mean, the program is going to be the program, whatever it looks like when they finish revamping it. But I will say, if there's anything that this team is really good at, is working in the gray.
Okay.
And trying to figure out a solution to make it work.
Okay.
So
no. Thank
just
you.
I would definitely say work with whoever your staff is and see what we can figure out, because we've come up with some good solutions on that already.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you're not by yourself. It was
No.
no, not by yourself. A lot
Yes,
of us.
you are not by yourself.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, you are definitely not alone, so don't worry. But we're constantly looking for solutions for stuff like that. So, just definitely work with whoever your staff is and see if we can come up with.
I think she may have froze on us. We just have a couple more minutes. So just to kind of tie things up in a nice, pretty bow, I think one of the most important things that we need to make sure that we do year after year is to make sure we thank our volunteers, and not just post-event, or I'm sorry, thank our sponsors. Where am I? I'm 8:30. Thank our sponsors. And make sure that that we continue to cultivate that relationship throughout the year. So not just post-event, but what are we doing throughout the year to make sure that we're developing that relationship, and that they know who we are when we come in, that we are, the relay person, and that they know how much we appreciate their donation to our event. What's some things you all are doing to make sure that your volunteers or your sponsors, good gracious, are feeling thanked?
All right, cool. Well, I know the other session is starting. If there's anything else, definitely drop it in the chat or send us a message. And yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.